Shalawam. This is HaAhba, and what I'm going to do today is completely different from my normal Bible studies that I present to you, and it's going to be short and sweet. But I want to share with you today a dream that I had early this morning. Now, I do get a lot of dreams, and I'm not one for sharing each and every dream because I think it's a message for someone. I always receive them to myself first. But this is the first time that I received it to myself, accept it for myself. But the Most High also told me it is for the brethren. And so I am going to share it with you. Now, I'm a dreamer. I've been a dreamer even before I became a believer. I was always dreaming. And it's only after I gave my heart to the Most High, then I start to understand the significance behind my dreams. And this dream, strangely enough, is about the 3 days of darkness. Now, I'm not like some people, oh yeah, I have a vision about the 3 days of darkness. I have a dream about the 3 days of darkness. This is my very first time I've ever dreamed anything of this sort. I've had dreams about the end times and many other kinds of heavenly dreams, but this is my first time that I receive a dream concerning the 3 days of darkness. Now, let me get started with it. I don't want to prolong this as it doesn't need to be a long, lengthy exhortation to you. But the dream started where I was outside and I was gazing up. And as I was looking up, I saw these two men flying. And they were wearing one of those bodysuits, you know, the bodysuits that men can soar. They can jump off a high cliff or they can jump out of an airplane and they can soar because there's a web between their arms and their legs, you know, that kind of soaring without a parachute. So there were two of them, and the uniqueness about these particular two, they were in black and white. What they were wearing almost looked like they were an antenna. They looked like this. They looked very bizarre, but I knew there were people dressed this way, and they were just maybe the bodysuit that they were wearing had that design on them. But I was able to zoom in and notice that yes, there were actually men wearing a bodysuit. And I saw another man. He jumped. I don't know where he came from, but he was in line with one of the men. He was able to attach himself so that he can land with him because he had no bodysuit on. He didn't even have a parachute. So I don't know where he came from, but it was almost like it was an exhibition and people were watching. And so this was all part of the plan. And I also was able to see when this one particular guy who was helping the other man as they land. As they land, there was this very large inflatable bed that other men on the ground were moving around to enable to catch this guy so he wouldn't crash into the ground. And he landed safely with the man holding onto his arm. And I thought, oh, wow, that is amazing. And then when I looked, there was the second man that didn't come down as yet, and they were getting ready to receive him. There were two other beds, and men were pulling them because they weren't sure where he was going to land. Anyways, I was watching this and wondering, like, why are they doing all of this? When suddenly my attention was drawn to the horizon. And when I looked to the horizon, I saw these black clouds. There were billowing black clouds, so black. There was nothing you can't even find a correct word to express how black these clouds were, and they were moving fast. And immediately I knew what they represented. They were, in fact, the darkness that was coming for 3 days. And I thought to myself, oh my, I am outside. I'm stuck. I need to get home. I should have been at home. And so I started to run. I didn't even get 2 steps running when these black clouds engulfed everything around me. And I realized I was paralyzed in the darkness. I was paralyzed. And so I cried out. I said to the Most High, this is not for me. And he said, you're correct. It's not for you. And he said, and immediately after he said, yes, it's not for you, the darkness started to clear away from me. And then there was only light in front of me. But somehow everything had transformed and looked different. And he said, go home. And he said, don't look back. Just keep walking, following the light. The light is in front of you, because the darkness was behind me. He said, don't look back at the darkness. Just keep ahead and walk until you reach home. So as I was walking, heading home, following the light. Now, the light was not like a path of light and there was darkness around me. There was no darkness around me. I know there was darkness behind me, but I was instructed not to look. But in front of me was all light, like it was daytime. So as I'm walking, heading home now, he was able to change the landscape so that I can make shortcuts to head home, because somehow I was far away from home. They not intended to be far away from home, but I was so focused on watching these men flying around in the sky that I completely ignored the sign of the darkness coming. Okay, so I found myself on the main road that was headed to my home. I was almost home when he instructed me to look up again. And when I looked up, I saw this peculiar light show. Now, it was not the aurora borealis that a lot of people say, oh, well, you're going to have the aurora borealis before the 3 days of darkness. I saw nothing of the sort. What I saw, and it was in a small portion of the sky, it looked like a laser light display. Lights were flashing. This was broad daylight because I could see the sun shining on the left, and on the right side I saw this amazing laser-like show, flashing and flashing and flashing. And then I saw, okay, enough, I need to head home. And that's when, as I was heading home, a comrade turned up at my door. And I said, I need to tell you what's going on. I need to explain to you that this is coming, the 3 days of darkness. So we went in and we started talking about the 3 days of darkness. And I woke up from that dream. I wasn't troubled or anything. But the Most High reminded me. He said to me in the dream, because actually, while I was in the dream, the Father spoke to me and told me, I was giving you a vision of what the 3 days of darkness will be like, so that you can share it with your brethren. And that's when I was sharing it with my brethren in the dream. Now I'm sharing it with you in reality, because I did say to people, the 3 days of darkness is not what others are they're talking about. You can't shut it out from outside your home. And that's why when I saw the darkness coming, I wanted to run home, because I knew there was light in my home. But let me explain why I said that I was given a warning both for myself and for the brethren. Because the warning is for me first, right? He said to me when I woke up this morning, he said to me, do not become distracted. Okay? He said, do not become distracted. In the dream, I showed you how distraction caused you to be caught unawares. of when the darkness came. And I thought, oh, because that very night, or the night beforehand, and even before that, I have been making plans. I have certain projects that I working on or was planning on starting my work on, and I know that it is not his will, right? Because I have my own personal reasons why I'm starting this project. It's all to do with the work that I do. And he said, what you're doing currently is sufficient. You don't need to start another project. And reason why is because to start this particular project would cause me to be too distracted. And why I am being distracted in the first place is because there are certain undertowing currents that are occurring around me that is somehow redirecting my attention to start this project. And the most I said, if you do that, you're going to be playing into his hands. This is all the enemy's tactic. All this undertowing currents that you're feeling, you're sensing, is coming from him to get you to go start this project. Now, the project isn't anything evil or nefarious or anything like that. It's just it would just take more time out of my schedule than I can afford, right? And and so he said that's the reason why. Now, the second part of the second significance concerning this dream also has to do with the fact that the darkness that a lot of people out there that are saying that you can keep this darkness away from you by having candles and whatnots. You can just close up your windows, put up your black blankets or black plastic bags. All of this is completely useless. I said this before in my series that I've done. Completely useless. Because when that darkness comes, no matter where you are or what you're in the middle of doing, it's going to paralyze you. I was in the middle of running and I was paralyzed. I could not move. And I could not see anything in front of me. But I wasn't afraid. No, I was not. Because I knew that there was light waiting for me. And all I did is call out to him. I said, but Father, this is not for me. This was not meant for me. He said, correct. It's not meant for you, but I wanted you to sample what it's all about. Right? So he then instructed me to he then instructed me then to understand the third significance behind this darkness. It has to do with the fact that those that are righteous and they happen to be caught off guard because they were temporarily distracted, like I was. He's going to provide a way for them to find their way home. Right? I know I said that the 3 days of darkness will be coming when it will be at the beginning of our Shabbat. But unfortunately, many of our brethren, they do not follow the correct calendar. And regardless, right? What he wants us to understand, if you are found righteous before him and you happen to be caught outdoors, he will bring you home where you will be safe. He will, because you already have the light in you, and that light will cause the darkness to recede. Yes, you will experience the darkness in the beginning because it's coming upon everyone, but the light in you will just turn on. And that light will shine and cause you to find your way home. He is going to lead you home because that's his glory. That's why before me, I didn't see an ounce of darkness. It looked like a normal day, except the scenery was a little different. It's almost animated because he made it so that I could be at home in a shorter period of time than normal, right? And he said not to look behind me because the darkness is behind me. So that is the reason why I know that this is not only for me, but this is also for the brethren, because I'm sure people will be wondering, okay, so what if I am not celebrating the Shabbat on the correct day and the darkness comes and finds me at work, on the streets, what have you? Well, here's your answer. The light will bring you home. All right? I know I did HaAhba's calendar. And like I said, because our time itself has been changed, that's why there are discrepancies even in trying to put the calendar together using Enoch's or Hanawak's explanation about the sun and the moon and how they operate. But Alahayam will not fault us because we did what we can do under the conditions that we're living under and what we have been given. We don't know the path of years. Masha, he had to go up the mountain and receive the path of years from Alahayam himself in order to give it to Yashraal when they came out of Goshen. When they came out of Goshen, they already had lost the path of years because of their rebellion. That's why they were in slavery in Matzarayam. And they lost the path of years. But when they were brought out of Goshen into the wilderness, Masha was given the path of years. And not only the path of years, but the history of all the different things that had occurred from the very beginning right up to the point of time where they were in the wilderness. They were also given the Jubilee years as well. Everything was given to them there. Unfortunately for us today, we don't have that. We have lost our path of years. We have lost the Jubilees. We've lost it all. All we have are the accounts of Hanawak, and then we have the Gregorian calendar, which are in conflict with each other. Nevertheless, we're still trying to glean what we can from the Gregorian calendar to make our own calendar. We're still trying to use Hanawak's explanation about the calculation of time as Alahayam had given to us to make our own calendar. It is not perfect by any means. And so he understands this. And this is the reason why he is saying, tell the brethren, don't panic, don't be in fear. We carry on doing what he tells us to do, which is to worship him and him alone. Focus on him and him alone. Do not be distracted by anything. The enemy right now is working fervently to distract us from what we're supposed to be doing, which is to be vigilant, to be watchful. All right? To be sober. Because if we get caught up living in this world, like I was saying, I was planning a project. Only yesterday, last night, I was talking to a friend about this project that I'm planning on starting. And the Most High is like, no, you're not. That's what he said to me this morning. No, you're not. You got enough on your plate. You got enough to do. You need to focus now on the horizon so that you can warn the brethren as I give you instructions to warn them. All right? Now, I want to end this with this scripture taken from First Peter chapter 5 verse 6. Humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of Alahayam, that he may exalt you in due time. So we need to always remember who we are serving. That no matter if the devil comes to threaten your livelihood, that you will not be threatened, because your livelihood is from Alahayam, Yahweh himself. The devil can't take from you what Alahayam has given to you. What belongs to you will remain yours. The devil will come and bring threats and all manner of evil words against you, or bring wickedness against you to cause you to become fearful. And so you try to find other avenues in order to survive in this world. But the way in which you're surviving right now is sufficient. And you don't need to do anything else except to worship Alahayam by being humble before Him and submitting ourselves under His mighty hand. I got to tell myself this all the time. I'm in a very precarious situation. But yet, He has never failed me. All He does is He exalts us in due time. Once we humble ourselves to Him, He exalts us. Verse 7, casting all your care upon Him. When the devil comes with his threats, you know what the truth is. You can resist the wickedness that is coming against you by knowing first and foremost that the Most High cares so much for His people, for His children, especially the righteous ones, because we are worshiping Him and we're walking in His ways. So casting all our care upon Him, all the things that we care for, our lives, where we live, what we have to eat and drink, all these things, He cares about. He cares about the things that we care about. But when we care more about the things than we care about Him, then it means that the things become our objects of idolatry. And at the same time, we're saying that you cannot provide for us. Just like Yashua, the ones that did not want to leave Goshen, they said to him, can Alahayam provide a table for us in the wilderness? Now that's a slap in his face, isn't it? He's been providing for them all along, even when they were in Goshen. Because they, by all rights, should have been annihilated by Matzorayim. But no. The harder they worked them, the more prolific they became, and they brought forth more children. So to ask Him if He is capable of providing them a table in the wilderness is an insult. Of course He is more than able. For He cares for you. He cares for us. Verse 8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walks about seeking whom he may devour. The enemy wants us to lose our faith. How do we lose our faith? When we start to operate in fear. So that's why he comes with the threats. That's why he comes with his wickedness, with his wicked agendas, and using people that are closest to us against us, to cause us to look the other way, to lose our focus on Alahayam Yahweh. And this now, once we do that, we are sitting ducks to be devoured by his wickedness, because we are no longer sober, we're no longer vigilant. And that's when now he can come in like this roaring lion. No, a roaring lion is a lion roars to bring fear upon the prey. Have you ever heard a lion roaring? It makes your heart tremble. But notice that all he can do is roar. And that roar comes in the form of threats to bring fear. And if we operate in faith and walk by faith, then the lion will roar all the day long and it wouldn't have any effect on us, because the lion of the tribe of Judah, of the tribe of HaAhba, his roar is greater than this roar. And when this little itty bitty lion called the devil starts to do his roaring, when we look to the Most High and the lion from the tribe of HaAhba, he lets out his roar, that other little kitty have to shut up his mouth. He has to shut his mouth because his roar will mean nothing. And especially when the Father starts to roar through us, means nothing. And so he can't devour us. But if we submit ourselves to the roaring of the adversary, who is the devil himself, if we submit to his roaring, then he will devour. He will devour. He will overcome us. Because the natural thing for us once we fear is to submit. And submit to the wrong people too. Verse 9, whom resist steadfast. So HaAhba here, who's Peter, is telling us we need to resist him. Resist the devil and he will flee from us. So he said, resist steadfast in faith, in the faith. So by faith we can resist that roaring lion who's the devil. Because faith is the direct opposite of fear. And because we are resisting him in faith, steadfastly, then he has no other option but to leave. His roaring will mean nothing to us. Knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. So what he's saying here, what is Peter saying here? That the things that we have to go through are done by our very own brethren who are in this world, who are of the world. You see, the enemy will use the person that is closest to you to try to rob you of your inheritance by causing you to be fearful and submit to him. We know that there are many people there that call themselves brethren, but all they are agents of Satan. They're the ones that are in the world. That's what Peter here is saying. Our brethren that are in the world, they're the ones that are going to bring the afflictions against their own brethren. That's how Satan moves. That's how the devil works. He's not going to bring your enemy against you, but he will bring your own brother or sister against you. Whatever the case may be. Jealousy, envy, what have you. This is how the devil works. And this is something that we need to be mindful of. That just because they look like us, and they may even have come from us, but they're not us. They're not of the congregation of Alahayam. Why? Because they're Gentiles. They're Gentiles. So we cannot allow ourselves to be distracted by them. So that's the message that the Most High wanted me to pass along, to let you know. Do not be distracted by the things going on in this world. There are a lot of stuff going on in this world right now. And they're all happening to bring about a distraction. We know that a certain ex-president was just, they just judged him. And a lot of people, whether they are our brethren or not, have their opinion about him, whether good or bad. A lot of wars and rumors of wars. A lot of strange things happening around us, whether in the weather, in the heavens, or what have you. Do not be distracted. Remain prayerful and watchful and vigilant. And these things are happening at a rapid pace because the enemy is working fervently to distract us. The 3 days of darkness, they're coming. Because at the ending of those 3 days of darkness will be our regathering. Because HaMashiach will come as a light in this world. While this world is still in darkness, he will be the light. He will be the light. And the whole world will see him when he comes, after the 3 days of darkness are completed. All right? So, all these other people that are telling you to get your beeswax candles and all these different things, ignore them. They tell you that the aurora borealis is going to be a sign that the 3 days of darkness. They said that about April 8th. Where are the 3 days of darkness? Didn't happen. Yes, there's another aurora borealis due to happen again. And then they're going to come with another false prophecy concerning that as well. Do not pay attention to these false prophets. These ones that call themselves prophets or prophetesses. Ignore them. Ignore the ones that tell you that you can deal with this darkness using physical means. But all you need to do is get food and water for 3 days and all these different things. Ignore them. They are false prophets, false teachers. They are misleading you. And some of them look like us. But they're the ones that are being used by the devil and causing them to roar, to cause people to become fearful and think that they can deal with the darkness in their own strength. The darkness isn't coming from the devil. The darkness is coming from Alahayam, Yahweh. He is bringing the darkness. He's sending the darkness. How can you resist anything that comes from him? You resist the devil, but you can't resist him. And I'm telling you, when I was swallowed up by that darkness, I was paralyzed. The only thing that was functioning in me was my brain. And I was praying inwardly. And he heard me. He said, I just wanted you to sample what it will be like. And just as quickly as it came, was quickly released from it. But like I said, I wasn't fearful because I knew the darkness was not for me. I knew it. So again, let me just say what the Father has instructed me to say. The darkness is going to paralyze everything and everyone except those who are in his light, the righteous remnant of the southern kingdom. Everyone else will be paralyzed. You can't move in this darkness. You can't speak in this darkness. You're going to hear your own thoughts and your own mind, but that's just about it. And some people are going to be tormented because they're wicked. They're wicked. Those that are righteous and they're caught outdoors, the Father is going to lead them home in the light. And there they will remain in the light until Alahayam Yahweh sends his Son to regather us. All right? So that's the ending. I didn't want to make this very long. And what we will do now, I will say the blessing for Yashwa'al. I'm not sure if I'm going to have many more dreams. I do have lots of dreams, don't get me wrong, but my dreams are for me. And they help me to understand the scriptures. It helps me to understand um, prophecy. All right? And they also help me to understand what Alahayam is expecting from me. I don't think that every single dream that I have is for everyone. I take it for me personally. Until he tells me it's for the brethren, then I will share it with the brethren. But this is my first dream that I've had that he said share it with the brethren. All right? So let's start with the blessing for Yashwa'al taken from, sorry, I'm here trying to find my, taken from Bamadabar chapter 6 verses 24 to 26. That's the book of Numbers chapter 6 verses 24 to 26. Yabarakak Yahweh wa Yashamarak. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. Ya'ar Yahweh panayo alayak wa yahanak. May Yahweh cause his face to shine upon you and have favor upon you. Yasha'a Yahweh panayo alayak wa yashamlak shalawam. May Yahweh lift up his face upon you and give you peace. And now I'm going to recite the command of Yahweh that he gave to us to recite when we lie down, when we get up, when we go out, and when we come in, taken from the Barayam chapter 6 verses 4 and 5, Deuteronomy chapter 6 verses 4 and 5. Shama o Yashwa'al, Yahweh Alahayana, Yahweh Achad, wa HaAhba Ath, Yahweh Alahayak, Bakal Babak, wa Bakal Napashat, wa Bakal Ma'adak. Hear, O Yashwa'al, Yahweh our Alahayam is one Yahweh. And you shall love Yahweh your Alahayam with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And with that I will say, Shalawam, Shalawam, all praises to the Most High, HaAhba.